Okay, good evening, everybody. You're on the Beat Radio Bali. We're going live across the whole planet, not just around Bali, but everywhere around the whole world. You're with DJ EsTeh.
Greenland. We're going to Greenland.
We're going to Greenland before it's all gone. But we've got special guest DJ producer with us this evening, Scott Pullen.
How are you, Stuart?
No, I'm very well, thank you,
Thanks
Scott.
for having me on board.
Yeah, get yourself comfortable.
Hello, listeners.
We'll try to make it a very exciting show if I can clear my throat. I've had this weird flu, actually, lately. But maybe guzzle in a bit of beer.
That always helps.
So, Scott Pullen, all the way from Australia. You've been here for a number of years. I remember seeing you here. No, but way before then too, right?
Oh, yeah. I've been coming here for decades.
But you're from Sydney, is that right?
Originally, yes, from Sydney.
And when was the first time you came to Bali? Put it there.
Oh, boy. No. It would have been last century, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a gig. Damien Saint was booking. What's that big club called in Kuta?
Sky Garden.
Sky Garden. Yeah, Damien Saint was doing the rooftop in there. So
right. So you were the megastar from Sydney that weekend.
That's a while ago.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. It's still open. It's open again now, but different. They don't have the rooftop anymore. It's only 2 rooms.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's another story.
It is.
Bali's changed a lot since 20 years or 20 whatever years ago, and then eventually end up living here, and since then you've actually become a producer. So tell us a little bit about producing.
What would you like to know?
I'd like to know everything. How do you do it?
Well, it happened during COVID, actually. I had no capacity to kind of to have an income and what have you. So rather than sort of sit around and waste my time and do nothing, I was adamant that I was going to teach myself how to produce. And I caught up with a couple of producers here in Bali, and they showed me a few bits and pieces, and I did a lot of searching on YouTube.
Tutorials.
And, tutorials. Yeah.
So do you think anybody could become a producer if they've got a ilk of music in it?
100%. Yeah. You've just got to be patient,
Yeah.
But it's funny because there were things that I wanted to do that I didn't know how to do, and I'd go onto YouTube and I'm like, how do you search? How do you do this in Ableton? And maybe 3 or 4 different videos would pop up, but one of them was this guy that was like a Muppet, like obviously a sound engineer, but he didn't want his face on camera. Right. And this Muppet actually taught me more than anybody, I think.
Right. Well, it could have been one of those DJ producers that wears a mask. Mouse. What do they call that?
Marshmallow or someone. Yeah. Dead mouse. Yeah.
So anyway, you actually had some immediate success, right?
Well, I bought a producer pack of Afro because this is going back 4 years now. I bought a really nice producer pack of Afro bongos and bass lines and synthesizers and Afro, guitar and a bit of vocals and stuff, and so I had all these beautiful bits and pieces, and it was sort of like a jigsaw puzzle. And I was thinking to myself, how would Fela Kuti put all of this together? And so I sort of made an arrangement with all of the bits and pieces that I had, and just started off very sparse, a little bit of congas, and then some rhythm guitar, and then a bit of keyboard rhythm, and then another keyboard, and then,
Right from the beginning, it must be like jumping in the deep end.
Yeah, well, I mean,
how it works.
Yeah. I mean, I've been DJing for decades, I guess, so, I kind of know how things can sound or are meant to sound, but I did this track and it ended up getting signed and it sort of just blew up, which was pretty lucky of me.
Well, I recall actually because I download a lot of music and stuff from around the places, and there was one site that I do grab a lot of music off this guy's site, and then suddenly I saw your name on it. and your track on it. And I thought, oh shit,
Okay.
where did that come from?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I contacted you or something saying
Yeah.
that I saw it there.
No, I mean
So-
even people like what's his name, Purple Disco Machine, who kind of plays disco. He was even playing it, because it was just this really nice deep Afro house groove. It's called Mombasa. If you want to check it out.
Did it get remixed and everything like that?
No, it didn't get remixed, but it's been on like over 24 compilation albums. It was also on the Circle. The Circle videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Circle had it on their playlist, and it was the opening track on Miami Underground compilation series and stuff. I mean, it's still. I had a look today on Beatport. I was sniffing around Beatport, and still my highest selling track, which is unbelievable.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And when you say highest selling track, you look at like retiring off this thing.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Does it ever work out?
I wish. No, I mean by that I just mean it's the most popular track I've sold.
I know. But I wonder if anyone actually, these tracks you hear, if anyone actually makes any money out of them.
Well, I mean, I'm sure Shania Twain and
Yeah, but like on the electronic side of things. Some
well,
popular
I'm
hit
sure
around the place.
Hugel and Black Coffee and these kind
I
of
guess.
guys are
Well, they still get royalties and stuff when they're playing on
forever.
radio or whatever.
Forever. I mean, it's an investment that you're always going to be getting royalties off.
Do you get royalties?
Yeah, I get royalties.
Right. So
yeah.
if someone's playing it on the radio, like me, I should be sending over a check.
Well, see, the thing is, you're probably not filling in APRA forms or anything like that. Nobody really.
Excuse me.
Don't
tell anyone.
I don't even think that there's an APRA here in Indonesia, is there?
If there was, no one would notice.
Yeah,
no one would take any notice.
But I mean, you do get royalties from your platforms that stream music, so Apple Music and Spotify and SoundCloud, YouTube, this kind of thing.
Oh, right. You're saying you get quite a lot of Spotify hits.
Yeah, my Spotify's blowing up at the moment. I've triggered the algorithm, which has been a bit of a puzzle for me, but once I hit 25,000 monthly listeners, Spotify just starts taking you a little bit more seriously and starts placing your tracks in other playlists. And it went from 25,000 up to 45,000 in the last 6 weeks.
That's listeners or...
That's monthly listeners, yeah.
Or listens.
No, listeners.
So, all right. And they come back and...
Streams,
listen a
I'm
few
running
times.
at about 100,000 streams a month.
Right. That's amazing. That's cool. I don't know what it means.
Well, it's better than 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's better than how many people are going to be viewing this YouTube later. But or maybe because you're here, it'll just blow up,
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Loving the Scotty Pullen.
Yeah.
So that's changed your life in somehow? Has that changed anything?
Well, it's changed my life in the fact that I now get booked overseas as an artist, rather than just a DJ.
Yeah.
And people are familiar with my music.
And that means they're paying for the tickets and paying for the accommodation, you get the whole thing.
Yeah, I get flown over to play at gigs and
That's
get
great.
paid in US dollars and stuff, although I shouldn't. Let's not talk about US dollars at the moment. But
maybe better in
I'm just saying
Ruan digital coins or something.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. That's great. Only because you had a couple of hits, right? I guess that's it.
Yeah, well, I mean, people, there's venues that align with the style of music that I produce. So, I mean, it's not just Afro; it's sort of ethnic and organic and melodic sort of stuff. So,
well, there seems to be plenty of those places around, and especially just around Bali. Most of the main places where the cool places to be with the fancy people seem to be that kind of music.
Are there fancy
right?
people in Bali?
Oh, they're very fancy. Well, I'm walking and go, Jesus Christ, how fancy are these people? Like, for example, Desa Kitsuna, that's kind
right.
of...
Yeah,
or Sardine, or,
Right.
these places where people get in their sort of kaftani kind of looks. And
okay.
their beads.
Yeah.
Well, Morabito is probably the king of that kind of look. and that kind of
Morabito.
style.
I'm
right?
playing there next weekend, actually.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Next weekend's a big weekend actually because it's
Ministry of Sounds.
yeah. Is that the one on
Y-
Saturday?
Yeah,
You're playing
that
there, are you?
Paul Oakenfold and Smoke and Joe. It's all. It's going to be all old school kind of house classics. So it's going to be a fun night.
Well, it should be.
A bit different from the usual Morabito sound.
I did see Paul Oakenfold down at
Karma.
yeah.
Yeah, read your mind.
Yeah. Were you there?
No, I
Did
wasn't.
I see you?
No, but that's the last place he played in Bali. I
Yeah.
think.
Well,
Yeah.
as usual. I hate to say it, but they're always a bit quiet down there.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not sure.
It's
It's a long drive. That's the thing.
yeah, and if the inclinator is not working, it's a.
Well,
It's
I've walked up from there.
Oh, so have I.
Yeah. it's quite a trip. But yeah, anyway, that was kind of fun. We had a few drinks. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Could have been Joe Bloggs as far as I knew.
Yeah.
So that's next Saturday at Morabito. I think the night before, my son's playing there, and it's his birthday. So I think I'm going to be down there on that night.
Okay. You could sleep. You could have
on the Friday night.
a big one and just stay over. Like
Well,
just
I
keep
could
going.
hide under the table. They'll never know I was there.
Wouldn't be the first time.
So as I was saying, that music, your music has become quite big at that, since 4 years ago.
Oh.
Do you think you're riding a wave or something?
I just, I kind of like to think that I'm on the pulse of kind of what's going on, and
Don't we all?
yeah. But I mean, I was really like, I don't know, 18 months ago, I discovered this guy called Maz, Brazilian guy, and I really, really loved his music because it was sort of like kind music, but instead of being dark and bleak and depressing, it was really, really uplifting.
Yeah, okay. And good for sort of beach club.
Yeah. So the Brazilian stuff really intrigues me, and I think you just played one of my Brazilian tracks.
That's right.
A couple of songs ago.
Canção de Esperança.
Yeah, which is Song of Hope in
Right.
English.
Okay. So I saw you had a young lady.
Louisa.
I saw a post somewhere, but was she singing or was she
No,
talking?
yeah, she's talking. So she speaks in the. I wrote these words out in English, and I wanted someone to say it in Brazilian Portuguese, and she came over into the studio and had a beautiful voice, and we did it, and it was great. It was great because. She's actually a Brazilian model that was living in New York, but she'd broken her leg and she was on crutches, so she couldn't work, and she was really kind of down and out about it. But when I was thinking, who do I know in Bali that's Brazilian? And then I was thinking, the Brazilian barbecue guy, Pedro, So I rang Pedro and asked him if he had any female friends on the island that could, that could drop some vocals for me. Excuse me. And it just so happened that Louisa was staying with him. So, it was a perfect sort of synchronicity going on. Yeah.
And it's been love ever since, I'm sure. Well, on vinyl anyway.
No, it worked. I mean, she's got a beautiful voice, and it fits perfectly into the song. So.
And that's going to be released soon.
That comes out. That comes out on the 25th of April. So what's that? 2 weeks from Friday.
And where do you release your music?
That one's signed to YHV Records, which is it's actually a local label based here in Bali. It's the biggest electronic label in Southeast Asia. They do a lot of releases. I've got a pretty good working relationship with them.
And you've been working with them since Mombasa?
Mombasa was signed to a German label, and then I did a thing with Pipi Sies, and then I did a thing with Tortuga Tribes, and then I think after that I started doing some stuff with YHV Records. Yeah.
Okay. But you've just released another one, right? The Whispers of the Ancestors.
Yeah, that's on YHV Records as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's the inspiration for all these tracks? Are they? Sometimes I find it hard to comprehend how they come up with the name of a track when you listen to it.
Yeah, well,
doof, and you get a name.
Yeah, well, I had a friend over. I mean, that's a long story, to be honest.
More of your
I
friend.
don't know how much time you've got, but I live in a big old villa, and out the back of my villa is running water, like a stream kind of thing, and there's also quite a large temple. And the first night I stayed in the villa by myself, I was in the whole villa by myself, and I didn't get any sleep. Like, it was just manic. It was lots of. I'm quite susceptible to paranormal activity, I guess you could say. And I came downstairs the next morning, and I asked the Pembantu, the maid that sort of comes with the villa. I said, Artie, are there any spirits in this house? And she looked at me and she said, yeah, there's plenty. Why? Did you see them? And I'm like, no, but they all came and visited me last night. Yeah. No, but look, ancestral guidance is something that is very widely held in belief with many cultures, and definitely with the Balinese culture. They very much believe in ancestral guidance, and same with Native American Indians and Africans, and I'm sort of intrigued by it, and I'm intrigued by a lot of indigenous cultures and their beliefs. And I had a friend.
Has that been a long time in the making, or is it something new?
Well, I've always been intrigued by indigenous cultures. Even before house music, I was going out and checking out lots of, African bands that were touring and Latin American bands that were touring, and I love Afro rhythms and Latin rhythms and what have you. But the spiritual side of it is something relatively new. I mean, I've been in Bali now for 7 years, and you see it everywhere. Everywhere you go, every day, people praying, and they very much believe. You know about what's it called? The 2 days. My mind's gone blank.
Which one?
Not Nyepi, but
Galungan.
Yeah, Galanan.
Yeah, and Galungan and Kuningan.
Kuninan, yeah. So that's a day when the local Balinese people believe that their ancestral spirits come back and visit them and stay with them for 10 days, and then in Kuninan, 10 days later, they leave. But, I'm intrigued by all of that stuff.
I haven't heard that before. I wasn't aware that they were being visited for 10 days.
Yeah, that's the trip. I mean, and then same with Nyepi. Like Nyepi, Nyepi is silent day here in Bali, and everyone, they shut down the airport, they turn off all the lights. It's like complete darkness. You're not allowed to play music, or, it's just like dead silence. But
well, it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but the reasoning behind that is that they believe that any noise will attract evil spirits, and
Yeah. Well, apparently they come back. They're supposed to. They when they burn the effigies, the ogogo and the
ogogas, yeah.
And then that sends all the bad spirits out to sea.
Right.
And this is the story I've heard.
Right.
And then they come back the next day and they find that no one's here, and they go, "Oh, okay, we'll just fuck off again.
Let's go somewhere else.
let's
go to the pub.
Let's cause some havoc somewhere else." And they shoot off down to somewhere like Australia.
Yeah,
go bloody crazy. But but Nippi's a wonderful time. There's no doubt about it. Now I get into such a. I find it so easy. It's just like.
I love it.
Staying home.
It's like detoxing. It's like digital detox.
Well, I do that, and I did it again this year, where I have a water fast, for the day before, the day after, and during, and it always makes me smile when I go down to the supermarket and I see everyone clambering around.
That's hilarious.
They've got extra cashiers ready for everybody in there.
It's
the
hilarious.
busiest day of the whole year.
Of the year. Yeah. I don't get it.
And then I don't even buy food.
It's bizarre.
So, yeah.
I mean, I went to a local cafe that I like and just bought an extra salad and put it in the fridge, and that was it. Yeah, good to go.
You just basically.
But this year I went down to Petit Tangent Beach for Melasti.
Oh yeah, it's busy, right?
And Melasti is a big celebration 2 days before Nyepi, where all of the Balinese people are dressed in white, and they go to their temples and they take out all of the sacred pieces of the temple and take it down to the beach and wash it and cleanse it in the ocean water. And, there's lots of music and everyone's dressed in white and everyone's kind of celebrating and stuff. But there's literally thousands and thousands of people all
Coming
dressed
from
in
all
white.
over the island.
Yeah. And you see them on the streets, and the streets are all clogged with parades and music. And
absolutely.
I mean, it's beautiful. I love it.
I had my office there on Geelong Pettytanget for, I don't know, it's about 15 years. And, the first time it came along, I thought, geez, what's this? Because they're all just, you can't even get on the road.
Yeah, truckloads of them, on their bike and walking along, and, like Gumbalun bands walking along, hitting their drums and stuff.
Of them.
Yeah,
on the street, and it's just chaos everywhere.
So I thought I've never really immersed myself into the middle of it, and I thought this time I'm going to do it. So I went down into the thick of it, which was a lot of fun.
And you went right down to the beach as well.
Yeah, I went right into the beach, the whole car park.
Right.
The big car park there.
It becomes a festival.
It's full on, because they've all got these. What would you call them? Things that they carry, not augers, but these big sort of
banners. They got
big
flags. They got
stuff. Yeah.
They got
lots of music.
Carrying
lots of music, which is cool.
On pedestals or something.
Everyone keeps asking me when I'm going to put some Balinese music into a track, but the whole mathematics behind gamelan is it's got. I mean, it's like wow.
Well, I have heard it. You obviously have heard it yourself. I just heard it recently. I can't remember where it was, but where
yeah. Well, it's based on completely different mathematics, So it's like I just have to sort of fade something in and fade it out.
I'm sure you could come up with something because you already done the Latino, the Afro.
Arabic, Aboriginal
as well.
Yeah,
wow.
You haven't heard the Aboriginal
didgeridoo.
Yeah, didgeridoo, clapsticks, kookaburra. Yeah. There's actually an Aboriginal elder on the track. It's called Walking Backwards into the Future. And it's kind of all about, I mean, look, Aboriginals have lived, they're one of the oldest human beings on the planet, and they've lived in harmony with nature for hundreds and hundreds of years, like thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years even.
Wow.
But
tens of thousands, maybe.
Yeah, well, I think it's like 60,000 years or something. But the thing is, like, we're just fucking up the planet so badly that we need to look at these indigenous cultures and learn from them. So the idea of like walking backwards into the future, let's have a look at how people existed in the past and take that knowledge with us moving forward into the future.
Sure, absolutely. The more we connect with the surroundings and environment, the better we're all going to be.
That's it. Well, a lot of people are so disconnected from themselves, let alone nature and everything else. Like that's one thing that's, like with all of this sort of social media technology and everything, people. It's supposed to be connecting people more, but it's actually disconnecting people more.
Well, you can, as well, just living around this area too, the way
we seem
to get disconnected more and more from anything to do with nature.
Yeah.
Just going down the beach now. I was just down the beach earlier, and they do a pretty good job of messing everything up.
Selfies.
The people around us.
You mean the influences on the beach?
No, just the degradation of nature, and the way they put those footpaths up on the sand, and the bridges and everything else they've got going on down there now. And you just wonder, oh my God,
when is this going to stop?
Where does it go from here?
What about this? I'll tell you where it goes. What about this elevator they're putting in at one of the most beautiful beaches in all of Bali?
The one in Nusa Penida.
Yeah,
right?
Nusa Penida. They're putting in an elevator. It's like, what are you
doing that?
doing?
They've started that, I heard.
They have.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean,
don't know how they do it.
No, it's like, what are you doing? You've got this beautiful piece of nature, and thousands of people go there every day to check it out. And they're going to build an elevator going down the cliff face so that more people can...
Way too many people go there, right?
What?
And now, they just do those sort of infrastructural things, and then just there's more and more and more people.
Yeah.
I remember actually having a story when we used to do the Seminyak Times, and there was a story of these two Russian girls that they went down the quick way on this fucking motorbike. I remember they slid off the edge, straight off.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh wow!
So it definitely is a dangerous place to.
Yeah. Well, that walk. I mean, whoa. Have you done the walk?
I
It's
haven't,
no.
no.
I've seen people. I haven't done it either, mind you.
Why would I? There's a lot of shit that you see on these influencer pages that I never knew existed.
Yeah.
I've been living here for decades, and like
Yeah.
waterfalls, for example.
Yeah.
I wasn't really aware there were waterfalls until suddenly everybody knew about waterfalls.
Right.
No one even talked
Yeah.
about them before these people came along with their cameras.
Yeah.
And now I'm sure you go there now. There's thousands of people crawling all over the place.
Now they're on the top of to-do lists.
Yeah. So our life.
But
is
that's the
definitely
same all
changing.
over the world. If you think about it, like I went to Machu Picchu, and we arrived and we got there. We got there mid-afternoon. It was just swarming with tourists. Can I swear on air?
Well, I'm not going to stop it.
And I was like, "Fuck this," basically. And so we got up, 4:30 in the morning, and we were the first people in at the following day at Machu Picchu, and that was a completely different experience.
Machu Picchu's in Mexico?
No, Peru.
Peru, okay.
Yeah.
That's like a Inca thing?
Yeah, the Inca Trail.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the one that's right up on top of the mountain or something?
Yeah, it's super high. It's it was when the conquistadors invaded South America. They took the Inca king, and took him up to Machu Picchu, and people were living there from 1450 to 1540, if I have my dates correct. But it's amazing because the water runs through the whole village just using gravity, and then they'll have things like they'll figure out where the sun shines during the day, and they'll make a window in their rock house. And the sun's shining down, and in the middle of the room there'll be a pool of water, and that pool of water reflects and lightens the room during the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's the first hot water in in Peru.
But the whole tourist thing is what I'm kind of getting at. Is like
Yeah, shit, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Like places like Rome and
Venice.
Venice.
Or that one, the one up at where is it in Basaki or something? Where the famous one where they're taking the photos of the two, like the temple opening gate thing. Got the
Heaven's Gate.
They got the Mount Agung at the background.
In the background,
But they don't show you that 150 people over here waiting to get in to take the photo, which is totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, there we go. So you got this. You got this next track being released soon. So what else has been going on? Where's your tours? What's happening?
Oh
Is there something
man,
happening?
I've got my head down in the studio at the moment. I've been talking to some people. Everyone's sort of saying when are you coming to Europe and what have you. And
Well, that's good. Good
yeah,
people, people are talking about it.
Yeah. I've just decided if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly. So I've got my head down in the studio. I need to have more product out there, more tracks.
Right.
So this year I'm just laying low, knuckling down in the studio. And
do you feel that, like, from your international travels now and gigging, do you think you're going to be on that stage where you're like the main act and people are coming in and
No.
Why not?
I'm not that disillusioned. No. I'm just going about my business and doing my thing. Look, I get a lot of pleasure out of making music. It's a buzz. It's a buzz to go to sit in a studio and start off with absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And then create something.
Right.
And create something that actually people makes them feel something like that.
But it also must be rewarding to, after many years, decades of being involved in this industry, and then now because before you were involved in like sort of cover sort of bands and things like
corporate
this.
stuff.
Now you're just doing your own thing and getting credit for it. That must be pretty.
It is. I mean, I was doing I still do work on corporate stuff. I do the bookings. I don't do the performance side of it. But it is rewarding to. In the corporate world, I mean, it pays, but it's a little bit soul destroying. Like, I don't know. I've got friends who, I'm not going to mention their names, but they play at some pretty popular venues here in Bali, and they're just banging out anthems, whether they're a mashup of house and disco and R&B and hip hop anthems every night, and people love it and it goes off and all that sort of stuff. But to be playing the same music night in, night out would just it's soul destroying for me. I've kind of done
you're
my
doing
fair
that
share of that
for
already.
years, right?
But
it's at some point you have to do it for the money, right? You have to
which I
get
understand.
ahead somewhere.
Which I understand. I mean, look, the scene in Sydney, to be honest, the music scene in Sydney is just appalling because everyone, managers and owners are like, just play really commercial stuff that everyone loves. So you end up having all of these venues that are just all playing the same fucking music. And it's like, it's only little pockets of the underground where people, I don't know how you feel about music, but for me, being a DJ, there's responsibility that comes with it. And the responsibility is not only giving the people in front of you a good time, but educating them on new sounds, new music.
Absolutely, and joining together, it kind of makes this community thing just through the music, right?
Yeah, well, that's it.
But there's also a lot of people on the planet that got no interest in music, and all they're there for is just pick up a girl, have a good time, go home, waste it.
That's true. I mean, look, I like the EDM, like the really sort of banging EDM scene. I find that I call that like entry level dance music.
Yeah, sure. And that's where people, I remember actually that because many years I only liked rock and roll. I was just the rock and roll. And I used to play in bands when I was younger, and it was only rock and roll. I never really got this electronic thing. And that's why, when I send those questions to DJs and whatever about, one of the questions is, was there a moment where it all made clear, where it all made sense?
Yeah.
Because there was definitely a moment for me where it all made sense. And I'm pretty sure most people, most of the DJs I ask, there's some moment when they're in a club and they did a big drop and it all fucking made sense.
Well, my sister, my sister took me to before, I'm going way back, way back, before electronic music was sort of popular and before even house music maybe. But she took me
back in those days, because I remember we went to a club and they're playing sort of like top 40 kind of music, right?
Well, she was involved in the gay community. She was a big part of the gay community, and so they were playing like disco stuff, I guess.
Sure, but it's kind of real poppy, and you hear it on the radio too, right? I guess that's what I recall.
Well, I mean, maybe she took me to a party called the Black Party, and it was at the Horden Pavilion, which holds 5,000 people, and there were like 5,000. Maybe 4,500 men and maybe 500 women, right. And the music was dark and dirty and like late night. Like dirty,
But what year is this? This is
this
80s.
is going back, showing my age.
Yeah, well, be proud. Wear it like
but it's
a banner.
True. But and I was 15 at the time. I was a kid, Right. But that's when that was my first experience of seeing electronic music affecting people en masse.
Yeah, and it was the first time there was real electronic music, like doof doof doof. I remember this sound back in the 80s, and this is when I was living in London and stuff, and we'd go to these places and they'd have this music. Ding dong ding dong ding dong ding dong. It's like, fuck, makes no sense. What is this? When are they going to play real music?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to an untrained ear, it does. And the first time you hear it, I mean, the first time I heard house music, I'm like, what the fuck is this? But
I do recall when the DJs, those early DJs, they used to play a lot of jazz kind of things and mix in sort of different styles of music. And then also some of this newer electronic house.
Well, David Caruso and guys like that were doing, the clubs, the early clubs in New York and Chicago, like they were really messing around with stuff. They were getting like gospel tracks and kind of putting a heavy beat and stuff over the top, like doing really interesting live mixes, but like creating songs, but like on the spot. It was like, wow.
Well, that's the good thing about electronic music too, is that there's no rules. You can do basically anything you want and give it a go.
I toured with Norman Cook Fatboy Slim when he was before he was Fatboy Slim, when he was in a thing called Beats International. They had that track "Dub Be Good to Me," and they took the bass line from the Clash's "The Guns of Brixton" and the vocals of the SOS band "Just Be Good to Me" and put it together, and it was a worldwide, huge international hit.
Yeah.
Anyhow, he was touring, and I remember we were at Melbourne at the Metro, and all he wanted to do all day was just go record shopping, like secondhand record shopping. So, we let him go secondhand record shopping, and turned up at soundcheck at the gig, and he had his box of records, and he had the bag of records that he'd bought that day. And he pulled out one of the records out of his bag, and it was like sort of like a big band swing thing, and he put it on, he's just sort of listening to it, and then he went through his own record box and pulled out just some beats and slapped it down on the other turntable, and started playing these beats over the top of the big band swing thing. And then the rest of the band were there, and one of the rappers came up and just started rapping over the top of this big band swing sort of mashed up hip-hop thing.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the next thing you know, that track appeared on his next album. So right then and there at soundcheck, they'd produced a track.
Come out with something.
Come up with a track, yeah.
Absolutely. The beauty of electronic music.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for coming in. We're going to have to wrap it up now.
Big shout out to all the people in Greenland. We love you. We love the Canadians. We love everyone.
I wouldn't go that far. But
Mexicans. We love the Mexicans.
Oh, God. What about the rapists? Anyway, anyway, good to speak to you again.
You too.
Scott.
Thanks for having me on the show.
We'll leave the politics to the next show.
We'll just leave the politics full stop.
All right, and we're going to go out with your Bali sunset thing here. Let's go with that right now. I have to take it back.
No, I don't take it back. Or do you have to?
I have to take it right back to the beginning here. And this is, come on, give us an intro to this.
Oh, okay. This was recorded live at a beach club in Bali, and check it out. It's this nice kind of like...
Which beach club was it?
I don't want to say.
All right.
It was recorded at a beach club at Melasti Beach.
It was a junkie beach club, whatever it was.
Melasti Beach. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Good talking to you, Scott.
Cheers.
We'll talk to you
Thanks
soon.
for having me.
Good luck with
Enjoy the music.
Good luck with the new releases.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.